Now that this digital disruption has demonstrated just how much we can do online, what, in your opinion, will be the value of actually going abroad to study post COVID 19?
The former admissions dean of Harvard, Derek Bok, said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. So I still think that when you enroll in a top, a top US or Canadian university, you're getting incredible value for your money. But I don't think you're going to see a rush to online, not yet, right? Many of the universities, particularly the leading ones, don't have the infrastructure in place to provide that type of experience that the students expect and really need. If you're studying nuclear engineering, how can you do so online, right? If you don't have access to lab space. So there's not going to be a complete replacement of the traditional system. So greater interest in data science, in machine learning, in cybersecurity, in biomedical engineering, in robotics. These are the fields that are very hot right now. Artificial intelligence. You know, again, students are thinking about 20 years from now.
What trend do you see in the kind of courses kids will be applying for in the future? Do you see any particular trend, or do you think it's quite universal in terms of people want to still do Latin and humanities? Is there a particular trajectory you see people taking?
I think a lot of students and parents are looking to future-proof their student studies and further their careers. So greater interest in data science, in machine learning, in cybersecurity, in biomedical engineering, in robotics, artificial intelligence. And I think, you know, again, students are thinking about 20 years from now, right? Will my studies still be relevant? Now, the value of a humanities or liberal arts degree, I think, is timeless because it teaches you how to think, which is the most transferable skill. It teaches you how to communicate, how to reflect. But you have kind of two ends of the spectrum. And Google, by the way, a lot of the tech companies love to hire liberal arts majors because they're the ones that can originate thought. Anyone can code. And again, if we think about automation, many of the technical tasks will be automated. So on the one end, you have, let's say, the true thinkers, the liberal arts students. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have students who are more interested in the cutting edge, the future of, let's say, surgery, right? Where you'll have a lot of robotics, you'll have nanotechnology. Instead of just taking a pill that is, you know, absorbed by the lining of your stomach, maybe contains a small robot that works its way into your artery and picks away at the plaque there to fight heart disease. But that's what I've seen, you know, over the past couple of years, for sure, the trend.
What is the future of universities, in your opinion? Do you think they'll ever go back to being exactly the same as they were?
Well, we're all changing every day, and hopefully for the better. But what I think you're going to see is that, you know, a disproportionate number of students, right, or almost all of them, aspire to really the leading universities, the UC Berkeleys, the Harvards, many of them that were struggling before with issues of enrollment, you know, issues of having enough international students to essentially subsidize the cost of American students. You know, those issues are only going to become more magnified now with the COVID crisis. But I also think you're going to see ways in which these leading universities expand not only their physical infrastructure to welcome students on campus, but a university like Stanford, for example, which has the innovation, has the funding, has the cachet, the reputation, is also going to make its education more accessible digitally. Now, this is something that's not going to happen overnight, not in the period of a year, but in the period of 5 to 10 years, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to put pressure on the less selective universities, the lower ranked universities, but it's also going to make that education more accessible at the top spots.
You mentioned how virtual internships exist online, how all summer courses have been converted to digitally to online programs. Can you give a couple of examples that you would recommend?
So Citibank has a fantastic virtual internship with 2 tracks for any student that's interested in banking. Harvard offers college courses for credit, with the same professor, the same curriculum, the same syllabus that they do in person. That's accessible to students around the world. So these are just a few examples of some of the activities or courses that students can pursue this summer.
Great. Thank you, Peter. It all sounds very hopeful and still very encouraging. So thank you for doing this. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview. I hope you found it helpful. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, the details of Hale Education Group will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.